Hi. Um, I know you probably all haven't heard from me in a while. Um, I'm making a quick video because I know it's been pretty busy over these past couple months, weeks, whatever it is, right? I'm here to specifically address anyone who hasn't voted yet. If you've already voted yet, I know you're busy. You can skip this video. We'll catch up later. Anyway, seriously. Okay, so here's my thing, right? If you live, your vote matters, right? And it doesn't matter if you're like, well, I'm not into the two parties or whatever you want to call it, right? And you want to vote some sort of independent or third candidate or whatever, and you're like, well, my voice doesn't matter. It does. First off, when you go, most of the states have some sort of ballot measures, your propositions, et cetera, and so forth, where you can vote directly on certain laws and bills and stuff like that. So that matters. And then all your local and like state level candidates and stuff like that. There's no electoral college there for that, so that matters. And then finally, the third parties candidates themselves. Here's where it gets a little tricky. This is the redundancy of the system, okay? So if the two parties have an electoral tie or whatever, which is probably the most likely, usually is most likely the scenario, but not always, right? What happens is that the House of Representatives, they vote for the president basically out of the, I believe it was the top three popular vote or something like that, while the Senate votes for a vice president of basically the top two. And the president and the vice president, they don't have to like match or anything like that as far as I know. So your vote does matter because this is a very close race, or it could be a very close race. It probably is a close race. As far as I know, it is a close race because it's always a close race. Every single time is a close race. And I know you're tired of seeing like the candidates on both major parties get worse and worse each year. You know, like, are you kidding me? Right? I know some people are like, well, why are you mentioning this? It's important. I'm sorry, it is. You know, one is like insane, and the other may be experiencing some health problems. I don't know, right? Nobody knows. That's the problem, you know. But I think there is something to be said about redundancy. I'm sorry. So if you're the type that wants to vote, but you don't want to vote for two parties, please vote anyway, you know. And as far as third parties go, now that you understand the process of how the tiebreaker works, basically, I have to give you, I guess, good or bad news, depending on how you view it. And that is that currently the House of Representatives is about 50-50, 50% Democrats, 50% Republicans, whatever, right? And which is pretty much, that's always the case for the most part. And maybe it leans slightly a little bit to the right this year. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's 50-50. So realistically, out of all the third party candidates, guess who is going to have the greatest chance of winning the electoral tie? Because Congress is going to have to elect him. You want to take a guess? Easy. Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. That's it. He's the only one that both sides of the House would agree to. So that is your greatest chance. And I know if you're like, well, I'm more of a left winger, right, it doesn't matter, because here's the thing: if Kennedy wins, he's an environmentalist, right? Which is great for like the left or whatever, and also for the right, it's good too because, well, he's American, and we know he's definitely American. And I know people are like, well, why is that? It is. I'm sorry. But when you have a Green Party with like someone like Joe Stein, right, and they want to cut 50% of the defense budget or whatever, and you know, as far as my research goes, that research says that Jill Stein has some sort of ties with or family or something, like near Moscow or something. Okay, that's what it says on the internet. I don't know if it's true. It doesn't really matter if it is or it isn't. All I know is this: everybody knows who the Kennedys are. They know what a Kennedy is. Everybody knows about Robert Kennedy. You see what I'm saying? Whether you're on the left or the right, everyone knows who it is. I'm sorry, that's just the reality. All right? And he's your greatest chance of actually winning a third party. And let me tell you something. If he wins, right, in an electoral tie where the Congress has to vote or whatever, he's probably going to want a second term. He's going to want to run for re-election. But in order to realistically win a re-election, what is he going to try to do? He's going to try to maybe advocate or pass a ranked choice voting system. And this voting system allows everybody to vote their conscience, and you don't have to be pragmatic and vote the lesser of both evils anymore, basically. And if you want, I can cover that in a separate video, or you can look it up yourself. You know, Bernie Sanders did it and stuff like that. It's great. The probability is in your favor. You get 3 picks, you pick them at once, and if the first pick isn't the majority of your vote, it goes to the second and then the third. So basically, in basic terms, the first 2 picks are the people that you really want in, and your third pick you can probably throw in a pragmatic candidate or whatever, like a worst case scenario or whatever like that. And that's basically who's going to win. And then we don't even have to argue about the Electoral College or the merits of it or anything like that, because for the most part, things will be a lot better. And if the 2 parties know that they can lose, what are they going to do? They're each going to have better candidates representing their party for both parties. You're not going to have somebody with cognitive issues, and you're not going to have somebody who's insane or doesn't have like the best interests of the American people. I'm sorry, I'm just saying how it is. I grew up at the Jersey Shore. I grew up in the wake of Trump's casinos, so I'm just telling you who this guy is, okay? Secondly, yeah, that's basically it. I don't really even need to go any further than that. But I will say this. For voters out in like Michigan, there's a separatist group that they don't want to vote Trump, but they want to throw the election or whatever. I understand your frustration and your anger. But even your leader even admitted that Jill Stein and the Green Party has no chance of winning whatsoever. So I don't know if you're voting for her because you feel these are your, lack of word, Russian friends or whatever. I don't know what the case is or whatever. But I can tell you this, she ain't going to win. Your leaders have said that she's not going to win. So it would probably be better if you vote for a candidate a third-party candidate that actually does have a shot of winning and is also, an environmentalist, right? So I'm just saying, that's where I stand on all that. And if I get a bunch of hate and bigotry or whatever, so be it. You know, the past couple of years of my life have been crazy anyway. So I am no longer afraid to speak my mind. I hope you now understand that. And I hope everyone has a pleasant weekend. And no matter what happens, whoever wins, doesn't win, etc. and so forth, we're all Americans. And I will see you at the same restaurants, the same clubs, although I don't really go clubbing anymore, to be honest, the same parks, the same beaches, and I will get a slice of pizza with you or whatever, and that's that. Anyway, take care. Sorry for the long video.